He's had a good week so far. I was once again not planning on actually doing a live stream today, or if I was, maybe like later at night, maybe doing a chill stream with some Sonic. I was thinking maybe I'd go to the gym, maybe watch some Sopranos with Rain, but it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way because Ukraine and the EU are just determined to do stupid shit basically every day that I feel obligated to cover. And every day it's like more insane, more stupid, more comedic than the last, but it's just too much. Like, I was happy when 2024 ended. Ukraine and the EU are just determined. Because, like, the Argies, I was adding stuff into that up until the last day. Like, Elon had his meltdown on Twitter, and that had to go into cringe and, like, worst take and stuff like that. So there's stuff in there from, like, literally the day before the year ended. And now we're, like, one day into the year. And already we have a nomination. So once again, we're going to play the clip that kind of summarizes how I'm feeling today.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Or this one's so lame, it doesn't even deserve to be, like, graced with that. It deserves to be graced with the much worse Michael Corleone impression.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
I guess that's the joke, just that Silvio's impressions are absolutely horrendous. But, okay, so. Okay, for those of you who aren't aware, this is a reference to, the title of this is a reference to the whole energy crisis. So Europe's been facing an energy crisis for quite some time now, more or less since the beginning of the Russi-Ukraine war, because, well, Europe got most of its gas and oil from Russia. It's been a long-term thing. In fact, there was this pipeline across Ukraine, I think has been there for like 50 years or something. It's way back during the Soviet era. Then prior to that, and then recently we had the development of Nord Stream and Nord Stream 2 and Turk Stream. And kind of the entire economic stability of Europe was based on cheap gas from Russia, that they could keep importing this cheap gas from Russia, and that would enable them to keep it all going. Their economy going. It would allow German businesses to remain competitive. Unfortunately, America and Ukraine blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, and no one really cared. It's the unsolved crime. There's like Gilligan, there's the skipper, like the 5 dudes and a lady out on the Andromeda yacht that somehow blew it up. So that stuff happened. And that's been causing some issues. So let me just see here. Okay. Oops. Energy prices. Let's see how Germany's been doing with regards to electricity prices. Yeah, it's not been great. Trying to find yeah, that didn't go very well, did it, Germany? So that is the energy price graph in Germany. It actually got worse because they also got rid of the remaining nuclear plants. It probably went down, though, because they're starting to implement the coal-fired plants. But, yeah, it's been pretty rough in Europe. I mean, look. It's a massive shit show. However, Europe has come up with a plan. They've come up with a plan, a gay op, if you will, that they're going to start buying liquefied natural gas from America. That's the new plan. Is we're going to get America to convert the natural gas into liquid natural liquefied natural gas and send it across the ocean to Europe. And some people might go, well, Argent, you have pipelines. Why don't you just pump the gas through the pipelines from Russia? We can't do that because Russia's evil. The alternative plan they've come up with, and we'll look at this in a minute for that aspect of it, is what we're going to do is we're going to keep buying natural gas from Russia, but we're going to buy liquefied natural gas from Russia. So instead of bringing it in through like a pipeline, we're going to pay the Russians to convert it into liquefied natural gas, and then ship it by ship to Europe. That's the new plan. We're also going to buy gas through India, and we're going to, like, we have this gay op that they tried to pull. I'm going to get demonetized. I'm using the G slur too many times, but it's just the only word I can really think to describe it. Where they're like, okay, we're going to keep the pipeline going, but what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that the gas is actually coming from Azerbaijan and Turkey. So we're going to have like Russian natural gas presented by Turkey or presented by Azerbaijan. And that's going to be like the plan to get around sanctions. And this is just kind of where we're at the moment. So let's just start going through these. So what started this? So Russia has, throughout the special military operation, maintained a deal with Ukraine. It uses Ukraine as a way to transit its energy from Russia to Europe, specifically Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, that kind of thing. And throughout the duration of this war, that has continued to go. It's kept going. And Russia has been paying Ukraine a not insubstantial amount of money to keep this pipeline going. So this is from a couple months back. Ukraine was getting something like, let's see here. Ukraine was getting $1 billion a year. Now, $1 billion a year might not sound that bad and for those of you in the West, but keep in mind, that is 0.5% of GDP. And I would imagine that's probably like 2 or 3% of government revenue. So this is not economically unimportant. And that's not including the fact that Ukraine actually uses this gas as well. However, they have like this G-slur thing they do where they pretend that the pipeline flows both ways at once. I'm not making any of this up. This is serious. And so Russia puts the natural gas through the pipeline, and then the pipeline pipes the gas into Slovakia, and then apparently like Slovakia pipes the gas back to Ukraine. And that's so Ukraine isn't technically buying gas from Russia. They're buying it from Slovakia. But I don't think oil pipes work that way, or natural gas pipes. I don't think they can go in two ways at once unless I'm like just hallucinating or something. So that's like the plan that they came up with. So they've had this deal for the last 5 years or so. They keep renewing it. Russia makes approximately $6.5 billion shipping the gas to Europe, and Ukraine makes $1 billion, and they also buy some of the gas. So Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, and especially Moldova are extremely dependent on that. And Ukraine said that they weren't going to renew it, and we'll get into why the renewal didn't happen, and it's really fucking stupid. But for the moment, it didn't happen, and they've announced a state of emergency in Moldova. Let's see here. Moldova state of emergency. Yeah, so Moldova has declared a state of emergency. Let's see here if it says what percentage comes from it. I'm just trying to find where it is. So Moldova said that this is Okay, yeah, they said this is Russia's fault for some reason. I'm trying to find where it is. But I think Moldova basically is completely fucked. I think they get like virtually all of their gas from this pipeline, and now it's gone. And there's I don't think literally anything they can do about it. So they're having like a national emergency, and the whole country is just melting down. Um, Let me see what's happening. I'm just trying to find. I really wish that they would sort this by like date by default. It's just really annoying to have to do this. Okay, yeah. So state of emergency. I think they're telling people to like insulate their homes or stuff like that. Um, Transnistria is also has absolutely none. The hot water is gone. There's only what's left in the pipes. I think there's blackout threats. We're treating this not as an energy crisis, but a security crisis induced by Russia to destabilize Moldova both economically and socially. This is clearly a shaping operation ahead of parliamentary elections in 2025 to create a demand for return of pro-Russian forces to power. How is this like a political stunt by Russia? Ukraine literally refused to renew the contract. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen, like, this is a big thing in the German media is they're constantly complaining that Russia cut off gas shipments. Well, Germany cut off the gas shipments, and America blew up Nord Stream. I mean, I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. Isn't that pretty much like 100% confirmed at this point in time? Like, mainstream publications were saying that. So, yeah, this is it. Keep in mind, Moldova had that super shady election where it looked like the anti-EU side was going to win, and then they just kept finding ballots coming in from overseas until it narrowly passed. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but um, but what use is that if people don't have money for electricity or gas? It's Russia's fault. It's Russia's fault that Ukraine shut off the pipelines. So it couldn't be Zelensky's fault. Let me see here. I'm just trying to. I have a list of articles we're going to look at here. I think this is it. Ukraine energy security. Oops. Just trying to find the. Let's see here. Just trying to find this. Right. Okay. I think I've. Okay. Now I remember. Okay. Ukraine percent of natural gas imported from Russia. Okay. I'm just trying to find this. I had this and I lost it. I think it was something like 40% or something of Ukraine's natural gas was provided by Russia. I'm just trying to find it. I had it bookmarked, but I'm having trouble with this. I think it's about 40%. There was some, I think, natural gas in Ukraine, but it was mostly in the Donbass. I'm just trying to see here. Let's see. Ukraine gas imports from Russia. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this. Anyways, it was like a lot of it. So people, the cope in Europe is that the pipeline only was 5% of all of Europe's gas imports. So it's okay. It's only a sudden end overnight of 5% reduction. And they're like, well, that's fine. That doesn't matter. I'm like, but there were already shortages. It's like, I sometimes like wonder if I'm just stupid or something, or like I don't get it. Now, maybe somebody in the chat who's more familiar with energy policy and economics can correct me on this, but I feel like a 5% reduction in supply, especially when supply is already tight, is not a 5% rise in price. It might be more than that. Because I know sometimes for very rare goods, any reduction in supply will increase the price by more than the supply was reduced. So Ukraine is in trouble. It's rough. Let's see here. Moldova is going to start importing electricity through Romania because that's a good idea. Let me see here. Ukraine ends party for Europe's gas addicts. Yeah. So they're losing a huge revenue source. They're losing access to cheap gas and stuff like that. Let's see here. Just trying to find. Okay, so we'll get into a second what the results are, but let's take a look at like what caused this. So the thing was up for renewal. So why wasn't it renewed? Well, we're going to take a look at this. So there was a long range of, I'm not even going to go into detail because the whole thing I couldn't even really figure out. But basically, there's been legal trouble for like the last 3 years since the special military operation started, between like what currency they're going to pay in, the existing contracts that Russia was going to import stuff into Europe, but then they couldn't because Nord Stream got blown up and then it was being blocked and yada yada. And there was all this back and forth and lawsuits between various companies and stuff like that. So this was submitted to arbitration by an unbiased court in Sweden, because that was completely and totally unbiased. So the German gas state-run natural gas company asked for a arbitration ruling from a completely non-biased source in Sweden, and the source in Sweden determined that they were able to break all of their contracts, and that Gazprom owed the German gas company $14.3 billion for some reason. Or is that one from Russia? I don't know. The whole thing's really confusing. I think Russia issued a similar amount. I think Russia said that they were going to do it. So that was kind of the lead up to this. So we have billions of dollars, and this is going to like continue to rack up as more and more stuff starts happening. More and more of these lawsuits. So Austria decided they were going to take the first swing. So Austria just decided to stop paying for its gas. It just stopped paying for its gas. It said, look, we're not going to pay for it. You owe us money, so we're just going to take all the gas you sent us, and we're not going to pay our debt. So... and that was how they were going to recoup the money from like that they felt that they were owed. I think. I think this is what it is. Yes. I don't know. This whole thing is really complicated. But yeah, so my understanding is in order to try to recoup the money from some lawsuit or canceled contract, Austria just started stealing basically natural gas. And the plan was what they were going to do is they are going to, I'm just trying to find it, start taking the $13 billion out of the payments. So what they were going to do is whenever Russia sent oil or gas into Germany, Germany would take the money they would have paid Russia with and instead put that towards the $13 billion that the tribunal ruled that Gazprom owed them. So basically, the deal was going to be Russia ships gas to Germany and to the rest of Europe, and they don't give Russia any money because the money goes to pay off the debt from the tribunal that always rules in the EU's favor. I don't know. Could people in chat tell me if they could follow that? I know it's retarded, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I'll just pull something else up, and you can just let me know if you could follow that chain of consciousness. Let's see here. Let's see here. Legally binding. Did Gazprom even agree? I don't know if Gazprom even agreed to it. So I think they just went ahead and did it. From today's perspective, okay. Yeah, so that was the goal. So that was the new deal they were saying that Russia would have to do is basically just give Europe free gasoline for as long as they wanted it. And the Russians were like, no, we're not going to do that. That's retarded. There's no fucking way. Putin actually, if you look at his speech, he got really pissed off. I don't know if I've seen Putin that angry before. So I'm just trying to see here. So let's go to, I think this is it. Okay, let's see, EU news. With the new year, the contract that guaranteed gas transit to Hungary, Slovakia, and Austria expired. Zelensky, one of Moscow's biggest defeats, but prices in Europe returned to 2023 levels. So basically, the whole plan is we're going to fuck up the renegotiation or the renewal of the natural gas that's throwing along the efficient, cost-effective, safe pipeline. And instead, we're going to import natural gas from Russia in a liquefied form via ship. Because it doesn't even stop the import of the natural gas from Russia. So I don't even know. So this is one of Moscow's great defeats. This is a massive defeat. Let's see here. Compounding by lowering temperatures in much of Europe, the non-renewal of the contract with Moscow led to a spike in EU natural gas prices, which immediately touched 50 euros per megawatt hour, rising back to the worrying levels last reached during the October 2023 energy crisis. Brussels says the EU is well prepared to face the end of gas transit through Ukraine, thanks to the European Commission. We're forming diversification routes, including LNG terminals in Greece, Italy, Poland, and perhaps from Turkey, a lot of which come from Russia anyways. Ukrainian president exulted when Putin took power in Russia more than 25 years ago. The annual pumping of gas through Ukraine to Europe was more than 130 billion cubic meters. Today, it is zero. That is the That is a win. That is the massive victory. Let's see here. Russia. Let's see. What's Russia's GDP? 2.21 trillion. So let me see here. This is divided by 2021. So that's like, I don't know, I probably fucked up with the zeros. That's like 0.003% of Russia's economy. So they felted Russia. They felted Russia good. That was the yeah, it would be that much because 1,000. Okay, I'm not used to working in numbers this big, but yeah, so it was like 0.003% of Russia's economy, and that's like their big plan. Let's see here. According to, however, four European countries were still receiving gas, from which included Slovakia, Budapest. Slovakia, Austria. Okay, I'm just trying to find this. That's just poor presentation. It says 4 European countries, but then it doesn't name them. Let's see here. Share of Russian gas in the European market has dropped from a 35% to 8%. It's higher than that. It's just that they buy it through a third party. Let's see here. So that's that plan. Just let me pull up my list of sources and see what else we have here. So once again, this is the big plan to felt Russia, to blow out Russia, and to destroy them. So let's look at what the reaction to this has been. So, needless to say, things have not been going well for Ukraine. So Ukraine, I think, used to be a net exporter of electricity a couple years back. Since the war with Russia has started, Russia has been destroying its energy infrastructure. It can't hit the nuclear power plants for obvious reasons, but it can hit transformers, it can hit repeaters or whatever they're called. It can hit all kinds of different stuff like that. And it's destroyed most of their thermal plants. So we have an article here. Ukraine's electricity imports increased more than 5-fold in 2024. So they're having some sort of major electricity crisis in Ukraine. And from what I've heard, it's pretty cold there in the winter. Let's see here. According to recent reports, Hungary accounted for 40% of energy imports, Slovakia 23%, Romania 18%, Poland 14%. Ukraine is a net importer of electricity. Russia has been targeting the substations. So, yeah, right. Ukraine is facing a major energy crisis at the moment. So if I'm... Okay, so they're reliant on that. Now, some people might say, maybe it's a bad idea if you're dependent upon electricity imports. It would be a bad idea to cut off the energy exports of natural gas to those countries who you're importing energy from, because they might just decide to do the same thing to you. So, this has actually happened. And here we go. And this is Politico, so obviously they're going to be completely fair and balanced. Ukraine calls Slovakia bluff as Fico threatens to power cutoff over Russia gas deal spat. Ukraine is not worried about Slovak threats to cut off power supplies to Kyiv over its refusal to prolong a gas deal with Russia. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico this week warned that he could take reciprocal measures, including stopping electricity exports to Ukraine in the depth of winter after Kyiv ruled out extending the 2019 agreement, which allows gas to flow through the country into Central Europe. I don't think that they would do this. This is contrary to European rules. Kyiv has also appealed to the European condition. So Ukraine is a country of hall monitors. They're just crying like a bitch to the EU because they aren't getting their way. I mean, if Ukraine can choose to not export natural gas to Slovakia, why can't Slovakia just not export electricity to Ukraine? Like, they don't have a right to that. Meanwhile, Kyiv could replace the lost power with imports from Romania and Poland. Warsaw has already offered its support in case of a cutoff, if that's going to be enough. If the goal is to make Ukraine pay, he said it doesn't work in this situation. Hungary has also stated that they would cut off, that they're considering cutting off the power. Let's see here. Slovakia earns about $500 million a year from pushing the gas forward. Let's see here. Okay, so here's the cope. Because they're technically selling the gas, the electricity to Ukraine, we are talking not about some grant of electricity or supply for free. We're talking about electricity which we pay for, he said, arguing Slovakia stands to lose hundreds of millions of dollars per year from stopping exports. It would also lose access to potentially cheap Ukrainian electricity supplies in the future. Yeah. See, guys, as soon as this war is over, Ukraine is going to become the world leader in electricity exports. The world leader, and Slovakia is going to miss out on this if they don't just take it on the chin, if they don't just accept that they're getting their gas supply cut off in the middle of winter. What is the temperature like in Slovakia at the moment? Bratislava. I mean, it's 0 degrees. It's like they need heat for that. So that's okay though. We're just gonna do that. So, but Ukraine is prepared to do this, to go off this. Let me see here. Let's go back to Chatham House. Let's see here. I'm just trying to find this. So they have a plan. They have a plan to deal with this. So, okay, let's see here. Russian gas is being laundered through Azerbaijan and Turkey to meet continued high European demands. There's a similar story elsewhere. European President Ursula von der Leyen has made deals to import gas from Azerbaijan, despite parts of the critical infrastructure needed to transport the gas to the EU being owned by Lukoil, a Russian energy company on the U.S. sanction list. Now, the other part of this GAOP is the gas is being exported from Azerbaijan, who's also increased their gas imports from Russia to the same amount. It's funny how that works. Yeah, here we go. To meet the increased gas demand, Azerbaijan has made a deal with Russia to increase imports to meet Azerbaijan domestic demand. Romania and Hungary have made gas deals with Turkey, a country fully dependent upon gas imports to meet its domestic demand. So where is the Turkish pipeline gas coming from? The most likely answer is Russia. The story is even less encouraging when it comes to Russian liquefied natural gas. EU's LNG imports from Russia have increased by around 40% over the last couple of years. So yeah, we're going to import the liquefied form instead of using a pipeline. That's the That's the plan. Let's see here. EU statistics show that the rise in LNG has pushed the share of Russian gas in EU supply back up to around 15% after pipeline imports have plunged. So let's see here. They're claiming that they're going to stop using any energy from Russia by 2027. But yeah, so it is increasing pretty rapidly. So Germany is not importing any, but France is, Spain is, Greece is, yeah. So that's where we're at the moment. Let's see here. The other plan is to import liquefied natural gas from, okay. Import U.S. Natural gas. So, wait, what is this? Okay. I just like to say something here, and this is the U.S. government's. Is this energy information? Is this a U.S. government site? Please, yeah, this is a U.S. government site. I just want to point out something. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna play a little game of Jeopardy. What is wrong with this statement? Just if someone could post in the chat. Why is this statement wrong? Okay, I'll give people another 30 seconds and then I'll reveal why it's retarded, why it's fucked. Okay, it says the United States supplied more LNG to Europe than any other country. Europe's not a country, though. Unless we're saying that the EU is a country, it doesn't even say EU. It just says Europe. So, the continent of Europe is a country? That's this is the U.S. fucking government who put this out. And they couldn't fact check that. That's is that what it is? I think we need some fact checkers here. Okay, Constantine sent me this. This is the new gas pipeline that they're going to probably try to build to get past Ukraine blocking it. So it's yeah. That's cool. They thought Europe was a country. Now I make the joke, the country of Europe, to refer to generic medieval Europe fantasy and fiction, like Ruritania or whatever, but yeah, so now as Later Gator points out, the shale oil boom is cooling in America, so it's not clear how much longer America will be able to be providing the level of liquefied natural gas that they were. If we look at this, it went massively up during the beginning of the SMO, but who knows how long that this is going to last. I don't know if this is also going to once this peters out, what Europe is going to do. So yeah, let's see here. Shale LNG running. Okay, so this is according to the far-right pro-Russian source, U.S. Energy Information. So it looks like shale gas has declined to a lower level than what it was last year. So it looks like they're not going to be increasing it more anytime soon. So They aren't going to be able to supply. They aren't going to. What I'm trying to say is they aren't going to be able to make it up in Europe. The stuff they're cutting off for Russia, and it may only be 5%, but they're also trying to push through like a new sanction package, and the new sanction package is going to try to block more of the LNG. Like the whole thing is so fucking dumb. So you have the same people who are importing the LNG or trying to do the gay op of running it through Azerbaijan or Turkey or something, are the same people who are trying to impose sanctions on Russia to block the shit that they're doing. Sorry if I keep referencing the chat. People in the chat, let me know if like this isn't making sense. Like if I'm not explaining this very well, because I can't really explain it very well because it doesn't make any sense. It's just a really dumb plan. But let me know and I'll try to see if I can rephrase it at all. Let's see here. The other thing that they're doing is this is from the Hindu. Russia oil finds its way to Europe via India. India is now the biggest exporter of fuel to EU. You know, India, the big oil producer. That's cool. India became the second biggest buyer of Russian crude oil since the invasion, with purchases rising from less than 1% of the total oil imported in the pre-Ukraine war period to almost 40% of the country's total oil purchases. India's exports of fuel like diesel to the EU jumped 58% in the first 3 quarters of 2024, with the bulk of them coming from refining discounted Russian oil. There are price caps. Okay, a lack of policy on refined oil produced from Russian crude. Okay, so so you can't import Russian crude through a third party, but if Russia sells their crude to a third party and the third party refines the fuel, then they can sell it to Europe, and that's not sanctioned. Okay, that makes sense. Let's see here. Capitalizing on the refining loophole, India has now become the biggest exporter of oil products to the EU. In the first 3 quarters of 2024, exports to the EU are increasingly reliant on crude. Saw a 58% year-over-year rise. So, yeah. So it is increasing. That's the plan. Once again, like they're buying the oil anyway. So like they're getting the oil anyways. All they're doing is just laundering it through a third country, which dramatically increases prices and transit costs and all kinds of stuff like that. Also, yeah, according to this, India imports 85% of its oil. So how is India, a country with virtually no oil, able to export large amounts of it to Europe? It just is. It's just the way it is. But the EU is they're going to deal with this. Let me see here. Where's the thing where they have their plan to beat Russia? Yeah, but like these guys just don't know what they're doing. Like once again, am I just stupid? Am I the one who's retarded for thinking that this is like a bad plan? That this is going to hurt Europe incomparably more than it hurts Russia? Like $5 or $6 billion is a lot of money, but compared to the size of like Russia's economy, Russian national budget. Like the Russian national budget is $420 billion. So that's like 1.2% of its budget or something like that. Also keep in mind that the budget deficit in Russia is, I'm trying to find where it is like 1.7% of GDP or something like that. It's going to be 1.7%. Percent of GDP is the budget deficit while in the middle of a massive war. So like Russia's not going to collapse under the weight of this. I think people I don't think understand that Russia is actually an extremely fiscally conservative country. So Russia's debt to GDP ratio is okay. How do I get it to display? It's just not letting me. Okay, well, it's not popping up when I click on it, but yeah, as you can see, oh no, there we go. Okay, so Russia's debt to GDP ratio is 17%. America's is 130%. Canada's is 107%. The UK's is 100%. Japan is a bizarre case where it's like 300%. It's some absurd amount. My point is, though, like, the financial cost to Russia's not the country who's facing like a debt crisis at the moment. And they can afford to lose a couple dollars. Russia, I think, also has actually currency reserves. I'm not sure what percent of it is also foreign debt. Let's see here. I'm just trying to find this. Total external debt relative to GDP. Let's just fire this up. External debt as a percentage of GDP. Let me see. Where's Russia? Russia's probably going to be at like. Oh no, Russia's not even. I don't think Russia's even listed. Okay. Now this may seem pedantic and like a complete and total sideshow, but I'm just trying to make a point here. Russia's public debt is 15.4% of GDP. I'm not sure how much of that is domestic. I think most of it is the net domestic. Domestic debt is nowhere near as big an issue as foreign debt. The reason why Japan's debt is so high and the country doesn't collapse is it's almost entirely domestically owned by large Japanese banks. So yeah, that's the plan. Let's see here. We are well prepared. Now I'm trying to find where the gas stores are. EU. By the way, look at Fico just completely mogging Putin. Like, can I get an optics check? Look, Fico's so tall and he's such a Chad. Like, he's not even fitting in the thing. Let me see here. How tall is Robert Fico? 6 feet tall. Okay, so he's 6 feet tall, and he just is mogging Putin. Superior Slovak genetics. I love Slovakia. Slovakia is a cool place. Slovaks seem like cool people. Let's see here. So yeah, so natural gas in EU is gradually declining. I'm not sure how long it's going to. Their current supplies are going to last. Like, my understanding is it's a fairly cold winter this year, and they aren't getting enough natural gas, so it's just going to deplete their stores. Prices are going to go up. The whole thing is just fucked. Like, but they're basically inconveniencing Russia. But once again, Russia's just going to sell it through India, or China's going to buy it, or they're just going to liquefy it and sell it to Europe anyways. So it basically has no effect on Russia while hurting their own populations. And that's why this whole thing is so fucked. Like, these people are... And I talked a little while back about how most of my mistakes during this... crisis during the course of this conflict is due to the fact that Sorry, I just completely brain dead. That they're so committed to just felting Russia, they're willing to do anything and put their populations through any degree of suffering in order to deal with it. So it's just going to do nothing. But that's their plan. They're going to import it through Turkey and Azerbaijan or the liquefied natural gas or India. And keep in mind, these are adults. These are adults who are supposed to be dealing with their like what their populations want and what their populations need, and they're just completely incapable of doing it because they're just fucking clowns. So that's about all I had to say. I hope people enjoyed this